Thank you, Carsten. I would like to extend our greetings to all the participants, to our guests, and to the project partners. We, here in this room, we have both the Institute of International Sociology, represented by me and my colleague Ramona, and the local community, the municipality of Gorizia. So warm greetings from this small village in the northeast of Italy, the indomitable village of cross-border enthusiasts, surrounded by the Roman and Slovenian regions. Now, in the next 10 minutes or so, what I would like to do with you is to introduce you to the work we have been carrying out within the partnership and beyond the partnership as well, on setting the stage to what will be the recommendation or the work towards shaping some proper recommendation from RESILOC. Now, this component is obviously a common component to many projects. Our ambition, our overarching vision with this task is to ensure that whatever recommendation, whatever insight might come from the science, from the scientist, is always checked, benchmarked, assessed against the feasibility, usability, and all the other criteria that we are familiar with, stemming from our community. Now, very briefly, I would like to take a quick look on the process, the leaders that will hopefully lead us to that vision. I would like to have a focus on the community resilience model that was shaped for this hand, and then finally present you the preliminary ambition. Why are we talking about ambition and not recommendation? Well, the project hasn't finished yet. We are about to start an important phase, which is the one of the trials, where everything that Uberto presented so clearly a minute before will be tested on the ground with the local communities. But between now and then, we only had the project objective as in the description of work, and we felt that those objectives need to be reviewed in a cooperative, shared manner with the communities, being both the local authorities, the citizen, but also the scientific community involved in the project, and also benchmark against the evolving objectives proposed by the different EU-based paper regulation and other insights coming from research. Now, very quickly on the process, but my slides are stuck, so they're not changing, right? Why is that? Okay, they're changing my computer, but I don't think they're changing there for some reason. Can you guys help me out? I am... Okay, so there is just a delay probably. Okay, so they will go back and forth whilst I speak. I'm very sorry for that. So the process, as I said, they will go back and forth because there is a little bit of a lag. Now, the process starts back last year, where we decided upon a model, which we will present in a moment, on how to make those ambitions relevant at the local level. We tried to draft a data collection tool, or as called there, the RESILOC outcome metrics, where we match the project objective with the objective that we could find in EU relevant policies and research. And we try to understand what our partners, especially the local communities, understood when they look at those objectives vis-a-vis their work and their effort within RESILOC and in risk reduction policies and actions in their daily practice. With that, we managed to shape up a mission document which offers a common methodology for the different components of the project, as well as a roadmap for the validation and co-production of project results. And of course, it will be of paramount importance to wait for the trials, to collect data, to analyze the data, to see all the evidence, and then to shape up the recommendation. So main point here is to say that what we're trying to do is not to have just some properly written recommendation, but also some recommendation that might make sense. Now, how do we intend for this recommendation to make sense? Well, a starting point is the community resilience model. I'm sure most of you will be familiar with this model. It is a synthesis of the classic institutional development model, upon which we have layered the main insight from the realist evaluation approach to validation and evaluation of public policies. So this tool, this model, allows us to put a few things together. Well, first, the context feature, resources, processes, and frameworks which shape up a local context. Then, once we establish that, we can look at how things are run in that context, according to the role of actors and their interaction in different scenarios, be it scenarios that what-if scenarios that we can work with our tool, or scenarios that are actually real scenarios, so looking back in retrospective on the experiences. Now, this interaction allows us to understand whether our strategies, our resilience strategies, that is one of the output of the project, will be oriented towards protection, adaptation, and transformation. But I think the importance of that box is that it does not stand in silos, but because of the two columns that were just presented, it will enable us to tell us whether these strategies, they will be hybrid, because we know from working on the ground that resilience, especially if we look at it from an holistic perspective, it incorporates features of all these three type or ideal type of strategies. Now, we have titled this presentation, which is Holistic Approach and Scalability. Now, whilst I let you read this preliminary ambition, I would like to step out of the role of the researcher. I'll take off my fake sociologist beard. I love elephants and I respect them, so I've never been fond of the ivory tower, or maybe I'm just like Aesop Fox, non dumatura est. And I will try to give you a more of a practitioner view of what I mean by holistic and scalability. And I'll take a step beyond RESILOC and I'll go in our work with local authorities and municipalities. So say, for instance, that we are on the Alpine area in the northwest Italy. And we have a municipality of about 650 people, which is, however, organized in 35 very dispersed settlements. Now, they are a flood-prone area, flash flood and landslides, of course, and they have 3 minutes left, thank you. Of course, there is an infrastructural approach in order to make sure that if a slide occurs, people living in that rural dispersed settlement will still reach the main road and go to the main city area to work and get whatever they need. Of course, we can look at measures such as building tunnels, and that's something that costs for 30 people, that is about 750,000 euros. What about the other 30 plus settlements and the other part of the population? Well, if you look holistically at resilience, then you need to consider, for instance, that municipality can count on 5 members of staff. These 5 members of staff, they cannot work extra hours because of the regional situation. They cannot be paid for extra hours. So they need to become civil protection volunteers so that they can keep working on their regular job. They can still perform their function in the operational center, which is activated during an emergency, so to be able to have things run smoothly. Now, this is an example of holistic. We need to take institutional variables, economic variables, social variables, infrastructural variables into an overall idea of community resilience. And what is scalability? Well, that's the point, because the idea and strategy that was developed at local level, making these people work as volunteers so they could perform legally their functions, well, that cannot be sustainable if it's not taken up either at the provincial or regional level or mainstream within an IMC, an intermunicipal cooperation setting or alternative. In order to do that, a legal framework should provide clear guidance on how municipality could unite in IMC structures. That is what we meant by scalability. Now, you might think that, as Nick Cave would put it, this is just a microscopic cog in his catastrophic plan. And you think, well, it is a silly little example that does not resonate or it's not useful for shaping policies. True, it is a very tiny little example. However, in our experience, this is an example that resonates in many communities. Lack of staff, lack of resources, different risks. And what we believe is that with this ambition and juxtaposing this ambition to this model, we'll be able to fill the gap in between the microscopic and the mesoscopic, hopefully avoiding the catastrophic. So, or supporting to avoid the catastrophic. So this is it. I hope I managed to highlight some of the work we have done. I'm looking forward for the discussion afterwards to take up some of the further matter. Thank you very much.